if that's Jamari Thrash and he gets that ball taken away, it's like, yeah, it's Jamari Thrash down there. What are you going to do? But it's not. It's the guy you traded a second rounder for and then paid. And it's the guy that people in Denver were talking trash about before he went out the door. It's the guy the national media was getting into it with. Steve Smith and all those people were getting into it with. And this is just another indication. Because if I'm watching this, guys, a legitimate number one wide receiver is taking that ball. It's that simple. You think you really think like Jeremiah Smith when he comes out? Jeremiah Smith, the pipes he's got, you think he's letting anybody else get that ball? Right. Ain't happening. Jeremiah Smith gets that ball. Well, Jeremiah Smith's going to be a legend. Go around the league. Go around the league. Now, I'm sure there are a couple examples of guys being able to knock balls out of great wide receivers' hands. I'm sure it happens. But to just rip it away from you and take it away? No. You name the very best. You name the very best. You name the strong ones. Even guys who are just strong wide receivers, they're not getting it taken away from. I agree with you. Good balls are good balls are good balls. That's a good ball thrown by Shedeur Sanders.
The Cleveland Browns just made a move that could define the future of their franchise, and it wasn't what fans expected. A viral sideline moment between Jerry Jeudy and rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders sparked headlines, hot takes, and social media debates. Clips of Jeudy clapping aggressively, visibly frustrated, immediately went viral. Fans saw tension. Critics called it a locker room fracture, but the reality behind the scenes completely different. Browns didn't panic. They didn't trade Jeudy. They didn't make a spectacle of discipline. Instead, they chose strategy over reaction, evaluating the incident in context. Coaches and front office personnel reviewed the full sequence of events, not just the viral clip, and concluded the outburst stemmed from a miscommunication on a route, not personal disrespect. To Cleveland, this wasn't insubordination. It was a high-pressure collision between two competitors in a broken offensive rhythm. That distinction matters, because while the public saw drama, the organization saw opportunity. Opportunity to develop a young quarterback under real NFL conditions. Opportunity to test veteran leadership without turning the moment into a headline-making disaster. Accountability doesn't always mean punishment. Sometimes it means confronting issues directly, setting clear expectations, and forcing chemistry to develop. Keeping Jerry Jeudy isn't about loyalty or ignoring mistakes. It's about continuity, structure, and growth. He provides Sanders with an experienced, detail-oriented receiver who can execute complex routes, read defenses on the fly, and correct timing mid-play, skills that don't show up in highlight reels but are essential for a quarterback learning to command an offense. At the same time, it's a challenge. Jeudy must evolve from frustrated veteran into stable.
What did Miles say about Shedeur?
So this was the Micah Parsons.
Is Shedeur the guy?
That's what we're looking at as a guy. We're going to give him a shot to prove that he's a guy. So we're not going to give anyone that title until they go out there and earn it. And he was the last person to be on the field, and he showed some flashes. So we're going to give him an opportunity to show what he can really do, uncork the ball.
Yeah, you paying another guy $46 billion. Is he going to get a shot?
I feel like everyone on the roster is going to get a shot. He was the last guy on the field, so he's obviously going to get first service. And Deshaun, whoever else on the roster, they're going to get a real look.
I've said I'm the biggest Shedeur fan. I don't want anyone to give the kid the job. I want him to earn the job. This way his teammates respect him when he's out there, and I think he can. Watson, let's see. I don't have anything to lose. I can compartmentalize everything that happened with that. That's done. That's a done deal. I'm over it. If you're still gonna bitch about Deshaun Watson and what happened, fine. That's on you. I see him as a player on this roster who's making a lot of money. If he's healthy, I want to see
force. Sanders must grow into the kind of quarterback who can lead, correct, and command under pressure. The sideline moment is over, but the lessons remain. Cleveland isn't just reacting, they're redefining leadership, accountability, and culture. This story isn't just about a viral clip or a hot headline. It's about how the Browns are building a team that thrives under pressure, balances youth and experience, and demands results over spectacle. And the first chapter of that story, Jerry Jeudy stays, Shedeur Sanders leads, the offense moves forward. The Cleveland Browns just turned what looked like chaos into a calculated move, and it all started with a viral sideline moment. Jerry Jeudy, a veteran wide receiver, was caught clapping aggressively and visibly challenging rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders during a late-season game. Social media exploded. Fans called it disrespect. Analysts questioned team chemistry. Headlines suggested a locker room fracture. But behind the scenes, the story was far more nuanced. Cleveland didn't panic. They didn't trade Jeudy or issue a public reprimand. Instead, coaches and front office personnel reviewed the full sequence, not just the viral clip. Their conclusion: this wasn't insubordination, it wasn't a personal attack. It was a high-pressure collision between two competitors caught in the middle of a broken offensive rhythm. Miscommunication on a route had created tension, not a fracture in the team, and that distinction made all the difference. In fact, the Browns saw opportunity where the public saw drama. They recognized a chance to develop Sanders under real NFL conditions. Accountability, they decided, didn't always mean punishment. Sometimes it meant confronting issues head-on, setting clear expectations, and forcing chemistry to develop between young and veteran players. Jeudy's frustration was framed not as a warning, but as a challenge, a test of leadership, discipline, and the ability to adapt. Keeping Jeudy also made sense financially and strategically. Cleveland invested heavily in him, both in draft capital and contract terms, and moving on impulsively would have created more problems than solutions. Beyond money, Jeudy's presence provides Sanders with an experienced route runner who can read defenses on the fly, adjust timing mid-play, and navigate complex NFL coverages. These are skills that don't appear in highlight reels, but are essential for a young quarterback learning to command an offense. At the same time, this move isn't about shielding Sanders, it's about growth under pressure. Jeudy must evolve from frustrated veteran into a stabilizing presence, while Sanders must grow into a quarterback capable of leading, correcting, and commanding without hesitation. Every interaction, every rep, and every route is now under scrutiny, not as punishment, but as part of a deliberate developmental plan. What looked like a sideline argument was actually a microcosm of the Browns' new philosophy. Emotional moments won't be ignored, but they won't automatically lead to separation. Veterans are expected to model professionalism, young players are expected to respond to pressure, and the team as a whole is expected to handle conflict internally with clarity and structure. This is more than a viral clip, it's a signal. Cleveland is betting on continuity over disruption, communication over speculation, and growth over reaction. The Browns are done guessing, they're done reacting. And the first chapter of this story, Jerry Jeudy stays, Shedeur Sanders leads, and the offense moves forward together. After the sideline moment went viral, the Cleveland Browns didn't react impulsively. Instead, they took a deliberate, behind-the-scenes approach to evaluate the situation. Coaches, front office executives, and team personnel reviewed the full sequence of events, going far beyond what social media had captured. The focus wasn't on headlines or public perception. It was on context, chemistry, and accountability within the team. The internal review revealed that the disagreement between Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders stemmed from a miscommunication on a route concept, not personal animosity or disrespect. While the clip suggested tension, the full footage told a different story: two competitors caught in a high-pressure situation, trying to navigate a disrupted offensive rhythm. Cleveland recognized this distinction immediately, understanding that labeling it as insubordination would have been both unfair and counterproductive. Financial and strategic considerations also played a key role. Jeudy represents a major investment in draft capital and contract money. Moving on impulsively would have created unnecessary disruption both in the offense and in team culture. More importantly, Jeudy provides Sanders with a reliable veteran presence, a receiver who can read defenses, adjust routes mid-play, and execute the full route tree. These are subtle but critical skills for a young quarterback learning to command an NFL offense. The Browns' evaluation wasn't just about preserving talent. It was about creating a structured environment for growth. They concluded that accountability doesn't always mean punishment. Instead, it can mean forcing key players to address issues directly, learn from tension, and build chemistry that strengthens the team long-term. Jeudy wasn't being excused, he was being challenged to evolve from frustrated veteran into a stabilizing leader. Sanders, meanwhile, was being tasked with gaining command of the offense under real pressure, developing leadership instincts while working with demanding teammates. The internal approach also emphasized communication and clarity. Coaches laid out explicit expectations for Jeudy and Sanders moving forward, focusing on leadership, body language, and alignment with the offense. Public optics were secondary to real progress. The goal was to fix the root of the problem rather than generate temporary headlines. Cleveland's front office believes this method creates stronger players, a more cohesive locker room, and a foundation for long-term success. In short, Cleveland's internal evaluation reframed a potentially divisive moment into a strategic decision. Jeudy stays not because of loyalty, but because the team sees value in structure, experience, and continuity. Sanders benefits by learning under real conditions, and the Browns send a clear message. Emotions are part of the game, but professionalism, communication, and accountability define a winning team. This careful internal review shows a franchise moving from reaction to strategy, from headline-driven chaos to deliberate, process-driven growth. Cleveland's decision to keep Jerry Jeudy isn't about sentimentality or blind loyalty. It's a calculated strategy rooted in stability, development, and long-term planning. After weeks of internal evaluation, the Browns concluded that Jeudy provides a unique combination of experience, talent, and accountability that no other receiver on the roster currently offers. Removing him would have introduced unnecessary variables, disrupted offensive continuity, and slowed the growth of a young quarterback trying to establish himself in the NFL. Jeudy's presence ensures that Shedeur Sanders has a dependable target who can execute complex routes, read defenses on the fly, and adjust mid-play. These skills aren't flashy, but they're crucial for a quarterback still mastering timing, coverage recognition, and in-game decision-making. The Browns recognize that continuity and experience are often undervalued in rebuilding offenses, and keeping Jeudy gives Sanders the environment he needs to develop quickly under realistic NFL conditions. The move also sends a clear internal message. Emotional outbursts or frustration won't automatically lead to roster moves, but neither will they be ignored. Veterans are expected to model professionalism, and younger players are expected to respond under pressure. Jeudy's role now comes with additional responsibility. He must evolve from a frustrated veteran into a stabilizing force who elevates the offense rather than creating friction. This isn't a reward for staying. It's a challenge to step up as a leader in a locker room transitioning to a youth-driven identity. Financial and strategic considerations further reinforce the decision. Jeudy represents a significant investment in draft capital and contract structure. Cutting ties impulsively would not only have been costly, but also disrupted team chemistry and offensive preparation. Keeping him balances both sides of the equation, protecting the organization's investment while demanding accountability and growth. From a football standpoint, Jeudy provides more than just a veteran presence. He's a benchmark for Sanders' development. Working daily with a demanding, detail-oriented receiver accelerates learning, sharpens leadership instincts, and exposes the quarterback to the kind of in-game adjustments that only experienced teammates can teach. Removing Jeudy would have forced the Browns to simplify the offense, limiting both Sanders' growth and the team's ability to evaluate his true potential. Ultimately, Cleveland's choice to retain Jeudy reflects a philosophy shift: process over panic, structure over chaos, and growth through accountability. By keeping Jeudy, the Browns are betting on stability, forcing chemistry to develop naturally and creating a clear environment where results, not headlines, define success. For both Jeudy and Sanders, this is a pivotal offseason. One will stabilize and lead, the other will command and grow. Together, they become the centerpiece of a Browns offense built on trust, precision, and deliberate development, setting the tone for 2026 and beyond. With Jerry Jeudy staying in Cleveland, the spotlight now fully shifts to Shedeur Sanders. Keeping Jeudy isn't about protecting the veteran, it's about accelerating the growth of a young quarterback under real NFL conditions. Sanders is no longer shielded by inexperience or roster turnover. He now faces the challenge of commanding an offense that includes demanding, detail-oriented players who expect precision and accountability. Cleveland understands that quarterback development isn't about comfort. It's about trust, command, repetition, and real-world pressure. By retaining Jeudy, the Browns create an environment where Sanders must communicate clearly, adjust on the fly, and lead decisively. Every route, every snap, and every sideline interaction becomes a learning opportunity, not just a stat on a box score. The organization is betting that growth comes fastest when players are challenged, not insulated. This move also sends a clear internal message to the locker room. Emotional displays and disagreements are natural, but they must be managed constructively. Veterans like Jeudy are expected to model professionalism, while young players like Sanders are expected to absorb pressure, make quick decisions, and maintain control of the offense. The Browns are essentially saying, "We trust you, Sanders, now prove it under real conditions." Strategically, keeping Jeudy allows Sanders to develop chemistry with a reliable target who understands the nuances of NFL defenses. Timing-based concepts, route adjustments, and coverage recognition are all accelerated when a quarterback works with someone who can read the field and adapt in real time. Removing Jeudy would have forced the offense into simplified reads, limiting both Sanders' growth and the team's ability to evaluate his true potential. The pressure on Sanders is real and immediate. He is expected to lead a unit where accountability is front and center. There are no resets, no new systems, and no excuses. Every misstep is visible, but every success is equally magnified. This environment is deliberate. The Browns want clarity on whether Sanders is the quarterback capable of running a complex professional offense at full speed. Ultimately, the Sanders factor is about growth under fire. Keeping Jeudy isn't a crutch. It's a stress test designed to accelerate development, sharpen leadership instincts, and force Sanders to command respect organically. If he succeeds, the Browns' offense stabilizes and a new era of trust and performance begins. If not, the organization gains undeniable clarity on what adjustments are needed. In short, Sanders isn't just the face of Cleveland's future. He is the centerpiece of a deliberate experiment in quarterback development, team chemistry, and accountability. and the Browns are betting that exposure to high-level talent and real pressure will reveal whether he truly belongs at the helm. The Cleveland Browns' decision to keep Jerry Jeudy isn't just about a single player, it's about redefining leadership and culture within the organization. After years of reactive decision-making, emotional roster moves, and public drama, the franchise is signaling a deliberate shift towards structure, accountability, and internal growth. The incident with Shedeur Sanders highlighted a larger problem. Visible tension on the sidelines can quickly undermine a young quarterback's confidence. Rather than making a public spectacle or rushing to trade Jeudy, Cleveland addressed the issue privately, with clear expectations and face-to-face conversations. This approach reinforces a culture where accountability doesn't always mean punishment, but instead requires players to confront issues directly and collaboratively. Veterans like Jeudy now carry a dual responsibility. They are expected to perform on the field while modeling professionalism and helping younger teammates navigate pressure. Meanwhile, young leaders like Sanders must learn to command respect, manage personalities, and lead an offense that includes experienced, demanding players. The Browns are creating an environment where leadership is earned daily, not assumed by contract size or reputation. This culture shift also sends a message across the locker room. Emotional moments are natural, but they must be handled constructively. Disagreements don't automatically lead to exits, but they do come with responsibility. Veterans must maintain composure, and younger players must absorb pressure without shrinking. By balancing these expectations, the Browns aim to maintain a stable yet competitive environment where growth and accountability coexist. From a strategic standpoint, keeping Jeudy allows Cleveland to preserve continuity in the offense, providing Sanders with a veteran receiver who understands NFL coverages, timing, and adjustments. This ensures that development happens organically, through shared responsibility and real game experience, rather than artificial systems or over-sanitized situations. It also reinforces a broader philosophy: trust and structure outweigh chaos and reactionary moves. The impact of this decision goes beyond just football. It defines the Browns as an organization willing to invest in deliberate processes, prioritize internal resolution over public spectacle, and focus on long-term growth rather than short-term optics. By fostering a culture of accountability, professionalism, and mutual respect, Cleveland is sending a clear signal. The franchise is done with reactive chaos and ready to build a sustainable winning culture. Ultimately, the leadership and culture shift is about more than keeping a star player. It's about establishing standards, defining roles, and creating an environment where young talent like Sanders can grow under pressure, and veterans like Jeudy can evolve into stabilizing leaders. This is the blueprint Cleveland hopes will transform the team from a reactive franchise into a disciplined, forward-looking organization. The Cleveland Browns' decision to keep Jerry Jeudy is about more than roster moves. It's a clear signal of a new leadership philosophy and culture shift within the organization. After years of reactive decisions and public drama, the Browns are choosing structure, accountability, and internal growth over chaos and spectacle. The sideline incident with Shedeur Sanders could have easily led to a knee-jerk trade or public criticism, but Cleveland approached it differently. Coaches and front office personnel reviewed the full sequence of events, determining that the disagreement stemmed from miscommunication, not insubordination. Both players addressed the situation immediately, calmly, and productively, exactly the type of resolution the Browns want from their leaders. By keeping Jeudy, Cleveland is creating a culture where accountability doesn't always mean punishment. Veterans like Jeudy are expected to lead by example, demonstrating professionalism, cleaner body language, and alignment with younger players. At the same time, young leaders like Sanders must learn to command respect, manage strong personalities, and operate an offense under real pressure. This dynamic forces growth naturally and organically, rather than manufacturing leadership through artificial programs. The message extends across the locker room. Emotional moments are not banned, but they must be handled responsibly. Disagreements do not automatically lead to exits, but they do come with responsibility. Veterans are expected to model composure, while young players are expected to respond through communication, discipline, and growth. Cleveland aims to maintain a stable, competitive environment where both experience and youth contribute to a high-functioning unit. From a football standpoint, keeping Jeudy preserves continuity in the offense, giving Sanders a receiver who understands NFL coverages, timing adjustments, and defensive tendencies. This allows the quarterback to develop precision, chemistry, and leadership without constantly adapting to new personnel. Rather than simplifying the offense to protect a young QB, Cleveland can continue running complex concepts that test Sanders' true ceiling, accelerating his growth. Ultimately, this decision reflects a broader organizational shift. The Browns are no longer defined by reactive chaos, but by deliberate processes, clear expectations, and accountability at all levels. Keeping Jeudy isn't just about protecting a veteran, it's about stress-testing the future, building trust, and fostering an environment where young talent can thrive while veterans elevate the team. This culture shift sets the tone for the entire franchise. Leaders must lead, young players must grow, and the organization prioritizes structure and clarity over spectacle and reaction. For Cleveland, this is not just a roster decision. It's a commitment to building a disciplined, forward-looking team that can handle adversity while cultivating internal excellence. Keeping Jerry Jeudy isn't just a personnel decision. It's a strategic move that directly impacts the Cleveland Browns' offense and long-term quarterback development. By retaining Jeudy, the Browns are prioritizing continuity, structure, and execution over disruption, creating an environment where Shedeur Sanders can develop under real NFL conditions. From a tactical standpoint, Jeudy provides the offense with an experienced, versatile route runner who can read coverages, adjust mid-play, and execute the full route tree. These are skills that don't show up on highlight reels but are invaluable to a young quarterback. Sanders now has a reliable weapon who demands precision and accountability, forcing him to make quick reads, lead the offense decisively, and refine timing-based concepts. This isn't about protecting Sanders with simpler plays. It's about giving him the tools to operate a full-speed, professional offense. Moreover, keeping Jeudy allows Cleveland to evaluate Sanders' ceiling more accurately. Continuity removes unnecessary variables, meaning that the team can observe how well the quarterback connects with a demanding veteran without the distraction of new receivers or a constantly shifting playbook. Every rep, adjustment, and interaction between Sanders and Jeudy will be closely monitored, providing the front office with clear, actionable data on chemistry, decision-making, and leadership. The strategic reasoning also reflects a broader philosophy. Experience and youth must coexist. While Sanders represents the future, he cannot develop in a vacuum. Jeudy acts as a bridge, not a crutch, between the QB's learning curve and the demands of NFL-level execution. The Browns are deliberately putting Sanders in situations that require growth under pressure, including managing veteran personalities and maintaining offensive cohesion. This continuity also ensures the offense doesn't flatten into overly conservative schemes. Complex routes, spacing concepts, and timing-based passing remain viable because Jeudy can execute them reliably. This allows Cleveland to preserve offensive identity, even while the team emphasizes quarterback development. It also underscores a shift from reactionary moves toward deliberate, process-driven strategy. In short, keeping Jeudy is a calculated risk designed to accelerate quarterback growth, maintain offensive complexity, and strengthen team chemistry. It's about stress-testing Sanders while leveraging veteran structure to create stability. Cleveland is betting that continuity and accountability will produce measurable improvements on the field, rather than relying on constant turnover or temporary fixes. Ultimately, this decision sets a tone for the entire franchise. Success will come from execution, repetition, and structured growth, not reactionary decisions. By keeping Jeudy, the Browns are putting themselves in the best position to develop a quarterback, evaluate talent honestly, and build a cohesive, competitive offense moving forward. The Cleveland Browns' decision to keep Jerry Jeudy goes far beyond a single roster choice. It's a statement about direction, culture, and accountability. In a league often dominated by reactionary moves and headline-driven decisions, Cleveland is taking a deliberate, process-oriented approach. By choosing continuity over disruption, the Browns are signaling that internal growth, structured development, and clarity of roles matter more than impulsive fixes or media narratives. This move underscores the franchise's commitment to Shedeur Sanders as the quarterback of the future. Rather than shielding him from complexity, the Browns are deliberately creating an environment where he must learn to command experienced, demanding players, navigate real pressure situations, and establish leadership organically. Jeudy's presence ensures Sanders faces authentic challenges, forcing him to sharpen decision-making, timing, and offensive control. The quarterback's growth will now be measured not by simplified scenarios, but by his ability to manage a professional offense with high expectations, accountability, and veteran structure. From a team perspective, the decision also sends a clear message to the locker room. Emotional moments and disagreements are acknowledged but do not automatically lead to separation. Veterans are expected to model professionalism, while young players are expected to absorb pressure and adjust without letting tension spill publicly. Cleveland is redefining leadership. Confrontation is met with correction, not exile. Accountability applies to everyone regardless of contract size, draft status, or reputation. This is about creating a culture of responsibility, trust, and mutual respect, something the franchise has struggled to sustain in the past. Strategically, keeping Jeudy preserves offensive complexity and identity. Timing-based routes, spacing concepts, and nuanced adjustments remain part of the system because Jeudy can execute them. This allows the Browns to maintain the integrity of the offense while simultaneously evaluating Sanders' true potential, rather than relying on simplified plays or constant rotation of receivers. Continuity removes unnecessary variables, giving the team clarity on chemistry, performance, and decision-making under real NFL conditions. Ultimately, this decision represents a philosophical shift for the Browns. The franchise is choosing structured development over chaos, accountability over reaction, and growth over optics. It's a commitment to execution, repetition, and long-term vision. Jeudy stays not as a reward but as a responsibility, and Sanders' success will now be tested in a real-world, high-pressure environment. By making this choice, Cleveland isn't just managing a roster, it's defining itself as a franchise capable of learning from the past, handling adversity intentionally, and building a cohesive, competitive future. The message is clear: continuity, accountability, and structured growth are no longer optional, they are non-negotiable pillars for the Browns moving forward.